Update. Am I the a-hole for refusing to meet my biological mom after in person I signed up for a DNA testing site? Original post. I'm a 24 male who was adopted when I was 6 years old. I've always felt incredibly lucky because my adoptive parents, who were in their late 20s when they took me in, have been nothing short of amazing. They've loved and supported me as if I were their own flesh and blood, and I've never felt like anything was missing in my life because of being adopted. Growing up, I had very minimal details about my adoption. I know that I was removed from my biological family by social services due to neglect and abuse, but I don't remember anything about my life before I was adopted. It's not something I've dwelled on much because I've never felt like I needed those missing pieces to feel complete or valued. Recently, out of simple curiosity, I decided to sign up for one of those at-home DNA testing kits. I wasn't looking for a reunion or any deep connection. I just wanted to know more about my genetic history, like why I was removed from my biological family and if there were any medical issues I should be aware of. Honestly, I didn't expect to find anyone closely related to me, so it felt like a low-stakes way to get some answers. About 8 weeks after sending off the kit, I finally remembered to check the results, and to my surprise, I matched with my biological mother. She had sent me a message saying she was overjoyed that I had done the test and that she desperately wanted to reconnect with me and the rest of my biological family. She mentioned that she's thought of me every day and that I was always loved, and even that I have a biological little brother who is very excited to meet me, something I didn't even know. Her message was really emotional and, to be honest, overwhelming. But to me, she's a complete stranger, and reading those words didn't stir anything in me other than discomfort. I spent a lot of time crafting a thoughtful response to Bio Mom, explaining that while I appreciated her message, I wasn't interested in forming a relationship with her or any of my biological family. I made it clear that my reason for doing the DNA test was purely informational. I wanted to understand my past, maybe get some medical history, and learn why I was removed, but that was it. I apologized if my actions gave her the wrong impression. Bio Mom read my message and replied, saying that she'd be willing to give me all the information I wanted, but only if I agreed to meet her at a cafe to discuss our relationship further. I refused, telling her that I wasn't comfortable with a face-to-face meeting. I offered a phone call as a compromise, but emphasized that I just wanted the information and then for both of us to move on with our lives. She outright refused to provide any information unless I agreed to meet with her in person and discuss our relationship. I talked to my best friend about this, and she sided with Bio Mom, saying that I was being unfair. She argued that by signing up for the DNA site, I had essentially opened the door to this kind of situation, and that refusing to meet my Bio Mom now is like playing mind games and leading them on. So, am I the a-hole for not wanting a relationship with my biological mom after I signed up for the DNA testing site? Now, for the top advice before reading the update. Not the a-hole. She's holding your info hostage to get you to meet with her, which is her being the a-hole. You were removed for a reason, and she probably wants to fill you with her version. Since you know her name, can you contact the agency that removed you to request the information? I could have always gone through the route of getting in touch with social services and seeing what they can tell me, though I am not sure how much they can share because of data protection, so I just thought it would be easier this way. Also, it would have been nice to hear it from my family's perspective if you get what I mean. She doesn't sound mentally healthy. Don't do anything that makes you uncomfortable. You owe her nothing, and she's manipulative as heck. She sounds like a pushy lady. I wouldn't agree to meet her. And she already told her son he'd be meeting you? I don't know, honestly. She must have at least told him that I was on his site. She could also be using him as a manipulation tactic. You're not the a-hole, and your friend is an idiot. Your bio mom made a choice to give you up. You had no control in that decision. All of these years later, she's still trying to control things, and you're not the a-hole for wanting access on your terms. I don't think Bio Mom made a choice to give him up. I think her actions triggered her son's removal. Otherwise, I agree with you 100%. This is an awful self-serving woman with no compassion for the man's feelings. Now for the first update. It's been about 9 days since I last posted, and I thought it was time for an update. I really want to thank everyone who took the time to comment and offer advice. I've read through everything, and it's been both helpful and eye-opening. So after all the advice and some serious thinking, I decided to talk to my biological mom again, hoping that maybe if I explained myself better, she'd understand where I was coming from. Unfortunately, the things went downhill fast. Instead of trying to meet me halfway, she just got more manipulative, insisting that I was being selfish for not wanting to meet her in person. She refused to give me any information unless I agreed to her terms, which was a hard no for me. I've come to realize that I was pretty naive to think that my biological family might be decent people after everything. I mean, I was removed from their care for a reason, but I guess a part of me wanted to believe that people can change. Looking back, I feel kind of dumb for even starting this whole journey. It's brought up a lot of emotions that I wasn't really prepared to deal with, and to be honest, I'm feeling pretty down about the whole situation. And as for my best friend, well, that's another disappointment. She didn't just side with my biological mom initially, she's been unsupportive throughout this whole mess. Even after I told her about the latest conversation, she couldn't really understand why I was so upset. She kept saying that I should just give them a chance and not be so harsh. It's like she doesn't get how hard this is for me, and I'm starting to feel like she never really did. It's tough because I've always considered her one of my closest friends, but right now I'm not sure she's someone I can rely on. After all this, I decided to sit down with my adoptive parents and talk everything over with them. I hadn't really opened up to them about how deep this was affecting me, but they were amazing, as always. They were upset when they heard how my biological mom was acting, and they reassured me that none of this is my fault. They reminded me that there's a reason I was removed from that situation, and it's not on me to fix it or make things right with people who've clearly not changed. Talking with them made me realize just how lucky I am to have them. They've been there for me every step of the way, and they made it clear that whatever happens, they're my real family, the ones who loved and supported me no matter what. It's hard not to feel down after everything that's happened, but having them in my corner makes it a bit easier to cope. Honestly, I regret even starting this whole DNA journey. It's brought up more pain than I expected, and I can't help but wish I just left the past where it belongs. But at the same time, I'm grateful that it's reminded me of how blessed I am to have my adoptive parents. They're the ones who've always been there for me, and I couldn't ask for a better family. So that's where I'm at. I'm going to focus on the people who truly care about me and let go of the rest. It's not easy, but I know I'm on the right path. Thanks again to everyone who reached out. It's really helped me feel less alone in all this. I'm sorry this happened this way. Glad to hear your parents are supportive and understanding. As an adoptive mama, I just want you to know that you were 100% in the right. I'm sorry you didn't get the information. You are in my thoughts. I hope we can give our kiddo a blessed life like your adoptive parents gave you, and he thinks as well about us when he is your age. Take care and be well. You're a good person. As someone who was adopted at 10 days old who's now 51, my parents were my best friends along with my wife. They're 84 now and still going strong. Did a DNA thing for cultural interest, but never really looked at the matches and never read any messages to me. OP, stick with your family. Sounds like they're pretty amazing. Good luck. OP, you can probably request your child welfare records if you know what state you lived in when you were removed. You are entitled to records about yourself, and while they may be redacted, you can hopefully gain some insight as to the situation if that's what you want. Last update. Hey everyone, I've been thinking a lot about my family today, especially after everything that's been going on lately. It got me reminiscing about some of the best moments I've had with them. And there's one memory that stands out, something from when I was still a kid that I'll never forget. I must have been about 8 years old, just a couple of years after I was adopted. It was around Christmas time, and I remember feeling nervous because it was only my second Christmas with my adoptive parents. Holiday always makes me feel weird, even now. Anyway, my dad's friends own a Christmas tree farm, and that year, my mom and dad decided to take me to pick our Christmas tree. We went what felt like hours walking through rows and rows of trees. My parents kept asking me which one I liked best, and I remember feeling so much pressure. Like I had to pick the absolute best one, or else I'd ruin Christmas. But they were so patient, letting me take my time. Finally, I pointed out a tree. Honestly, it looked like every other one to me, but my parents made a huge deal out of it. My dad knelt down to start sewing, and I remember him pretending to struggle, saying, "Oh no, I think this tree might be too strong for me." My dad made me come over and help, saying he couldn't do it alone. So there I was, this little 8-year-old pretending to help my dad saw down this tree. Of course, I wasn't actually doing anything, but they made me feel like I was the strongest kid in the world. When the tree finally fell, my dad swept me up in his arms and spun me around, saying, "We did it." After we got home and set up the tree, my mom brought out these old boxes full of ornaments. She told me that we were going to start a new tradition. Every year, we'd each pick out one new ornament to add to the tree, something that represented something special from that year. That night, they handed me my very first ornament, a little wooden bear holding a heart with the word family carved into it. My mom said, "This one's for you, because you made our family complete." I remember holding that ornament, feeling this huge wave of love and belonging that I'd never really felt before. At the time, I don't think it even hit me how impactful that was. How that moment defines the way I look at myself today. I was part of a loving family. I was their family. Every Christmas after that, we'd pull out that little wooden bear and hang it up first. It became our tradition. The reason I've been thinking about this memory today is because it's a reminder of how lucky I am to have the parents I do. They didn't just give me a home, they gave me a sense of belonging, and they gave me love. Even with everything that's been going on, I know that I've got something really special, and I wouldn't trade it for anything. Anyway, thanks for letting me share this. I just needed to remind myself how amazing my family is, and I hope it brings a smile to your face like it does to mine. Next story. Am I the a-hole for stopping financial support for my sister after she bought a new car? For a few years now, I've been financially supporting my sister who's had trouble keeping a stable job. She's constantly complained that she can barely make ends meet, so I've been sending her $200 a month to help with groceries, rent, and other expenses. I did this because I felt that family should always support each other when needed. A few days ago, I saw on her Instagram that she bought a brand new car. I was shocked because according to her, she was struggling just to pay her bills. When I asked how she could afford it, she told me she took out a loan because she needs a car to get to work. I found that really irresponsible. She could have bought a used car or waited until she was in a better financial situation. I decided to stop sending her money because I feel like she's taking advantage of me. But when I told the rest of my family, they said I'm overreacting. They think I should keep supporting her because I make good money, and it's only $200 a month. Now I feel guilty, but at the same time, I think she's making poor financial decisions. Am I the a-hole for cutting off financial support after she bought a car? Now for the top comments. Not the a-hole. If she can afford a new car, she doesn't need your money. You're not responsible for funding her poor decisions. Family helps, but not at the cost of being taken advantage of. Exactly. I agree. If she can afford a car, why is she asking for money? If $200 per month is no big deal, then presumably your family can cover it. If it is a big deal, they have no business telling you what to do with your money. Exactly. And on top of that, she's taking money and buying a car right away. It's just ridiculous. Tell them you need the money to buy a new car. Have you even ever had real thank you? Not the a-hole. If she could get a car loan, she hasn't been struggling. She used you. I'm sorry about that, but you live and learn. Exactly. I think the same. She took advantage of me and I know how she is. You have to learn from mistakes. I'm 51 and bought a 1998 Buick Century with 65,000 miles on it. The AC didn't work for 2 years. She's taking advantage of you. Last story. Am I the a-hole for refusing to let my brother and his family stay with me after their house flooded? Hey everyone, I'm 34 female living in a 3-bedroom house that I own. It's just me here, and my brother 37 male and his wife 35 female have 2 kids, ages 8 and 5. A few days ago, their house flooded due to a burst pipe, and it's going to take weeks for the repairs. They've asked if they can stay with me during this time. But I refused, and now the whole family's upset with me. Let me explain. My brother and I aren't super close, but we get along well enough. However, his kids are extremely energetic and honestly a bit destructive. When they visit, they run around, touch everything. And the last time they were here, they broke a vase that belonged to my late grandmother. My brother and his wife laughed it off, saying kids will be kids, and didn't offer to replace it. Also, I work from home full-time and have a demanding job. I need a quiet environment to concentrate, and with 2 kids running around, that's not going to happen. I suggested they stay with my parents, who live about 20 minutes away, but they said my parents' house is too small for all of them, and that it's more convenient to stay with me because I'm closer to the kids' school and their workplaces. My brother told me I was being selfish and not considering their situation, and my parents hinted I should be more generous and that family's everything. But I really don't want to live with 2 kids running around my house for weeks. I know they're going through a tough time, but I don't think I should have to upend my life because of it. So Reddit, am I the a-hole for refusing to let my brother and his family stay with me? Not the a-hole. Give them the real reason. Your children are loud and destructive. When they had an accident last time, you didn't care, so I don't want you in my home. They don't have a good history with Opie staying in her house. And the whole family who is upset can chip in to pay for a rental. Plus, their insurance might cover some of that expense. You have a 3-bedroom house. 1 bedroom for you, 1 for you to work from home, and 1 for the family of 4? But they said my parents' house is too small for all of them. An extra 20 minutes travel for school and work is nothing. It will motivate them to get their house fixed sooner. It sounds like your parents don't want them either, which is why they're pressuring you. Not the a-hole. Oh no, they expect Opie to give up her office for her family because she doesn't really need it and we need a space more. So Opie has 1 bedroom, brother and sister-in-law have 1, and the kids have the other bedroom. Are you kidding? She'll have to give up her bedroom because they're family and of course guests. Also, the precious kids can't be asked to share a room. She's on a couch of course, as well as being the unpaid maid and babysitter because you work from home. So it's not like she really works, right? Most homeowners and renters insurance will put them up in a hotel. You could remind them of that. PSA to renters. Spend $300 a year and get renter's insurance. It's worth it. It's always so upsetting to have people try to pressure you into giving funds because someone, neighbor or coworker, lost their belongings to a fire and they couldn't be bothered to pay for a minimal renter's insurance plan. The insurance policies are ridiculously cheap. I mean, a $10K policy used to run around $20 a month. There's a bed, couch, a few tables and chairs, and a replacement wardrobe. It's not extravagant, but it'll get you going. Most people spend way more on expensive coffees daily.